This is my colleague Helen Puntha, or Ginger Spice. Don't know what that makes me. Not sporty. Anyway.
Scary.
Yeah, okay, I'm scary, apparently. So I'm Ellie Kennedy from your baby. From Nottingham Trent University, and we're going to give a kind of a case study about an example where we used video to capture student learning, and then talk about how we then took those student videos and did more things with them. So if you want to write on the Padlet in the meantime, I'm going to hand over to Helen to start.
Thank you. So where we've used videos, amongst other places, is in our Sustainability and Practice Certificate, which is a SPOC rather than a MOOC. It's a small, private online course. So it's open to all of our staff and students at Nottingham Trent. And it's part of a larger Food for Thought project, which is the Higher Education Academy's Green Academy, which some of you might be aware of. It's a change academy to try and embed sustainability education. So the reason why we've introduced it is because, like many universities, we've got a graduate attribute which includes knowledge and awareness of sustainability. So we wanted to look at how we could get this more into curriculum, and we found that we just couldn't get the impact that we were hoping for in terms of the usual routes we were trying. So this is an extracurricular course. As I say, it's all online. It's 4 sessions and a video assessment piece, which is where the video comes into it. Okay. So the learning outcomes for the session are, as you might expect from a course, they're just sort of phrased as this, but because it's an extracurricular course, we just pass or fail the students based on their video assessment piece at the end. I'm just kind of skipping through the slides, but if anyone's got questions about the detail of it, perhaps we'll come back to it. So this is the structure. Sorry, this text is a bit small. So as I say, we have 4 sessions and a video assessment piece. Sustainability can get quite complex, and as you start to look into it further, there's a lot of interdisciplinary links, which if the students are new to interdisciplinary working, this can take some time to sort of give people the background and let them try things out. So the way that we structured the course is that they start off in session 1 with a personal view of sustainability and how it relates to the food that they eat, because the food is used as a topic within the certificate. Rather than going in with the theory, we start from the topic of the global sustainability challenge of food,
which is a topic that students are generally interested in.
Yeah, and one that relates to all of us personally and collectively. So we get them to engage with sustainability on a personal level in session 1. In session 2, they start to look at disciplinary relevance to sustainability in food. So what's their subject area? What's the relevance of that to food and sustainability? At this point in the certificate, we're lucky to have the support of lots of academics across the university who provided us with web links with different resources, articles, images, all sorts of things that were about food sustainability and their topic area. I mean, we chose food because we thought this is something everyone can engage with from different subject areas. But when it comes to this, we were a little bit nervous. We thought, astrophysics. I think maybe we should give them a hand and try and find some links. But they actually found some research about light pollution and the effect it has on crops and how crops grow. So food turned out to be a good theme from that point of view. Session 3, we get them to look at interdisciplinary working, how this relates to food sustainability challenges. Obviously, when you take a real-life issue like food security or food production, then one discipline is not going to have the answers to all the questions that raises, so it requires an interdisciplinary approach. So session 3 helps students see these different connections. How does their subject area rely on another subject area's expertise as well, all working towards the challenge of food production, for example, or food processing. So session 4 is then looking at global and local solutions. So all the students, for their activity that week, they post solutions to food sustainability challenges, and we put them on a Z map, an online map, so that they're contributing to this map of challenges and solutions. And at the end, we have the video assessment piece. So the video itself, the students are asked to produce a 3-minute video which relates to food, sustainability and their subject area. And staff are also submitting videos, because we have some staff taking part as well. They can submit as an interdisciplinary group, or they can submit from their discipline. So for the actual video, this is based in our learning room, a virtual learning environment, which is the Desire to Learn platform. And so they use the Dropbox to submit their video. It has to be under 3 minutes. As it's an extracurricular course, we wanted them to have to do the video because we thought it would be something different to what they normally do in their course. And as has been mentioned earlier, that videos, it helps you develop your communication skills. You see what you look like presenting, and then it gives you some feedback about that. And it's some sort of an extra string to their bow. It's something they've done off their own back. And it's a short, snappy thing that they can share with whoever. So that's the video assessment, and if you've got more questions about it, I'll just skip through a bit more. So to keep students interested as they're going along, they have prize draws each session. So for each session, sorry, I didn't explain very well, each session they have a task to do, and we have a discussion forum running throughout. And the discussion forum is a sort of backbone of the activities. So because it's all online, everything is, we were trying to encourage them to, trying to introduce them to online learning basically. So the tasks that they have to do are often to find some sort of digital artefact that relates to food and sustainability. So perhaps one week they look at a Prezi that leaps between the different stages of the food life cycle. We had one about the life of a strawberry yoghurt, and it was all about the different discipline areas and the different stages of the food life cycle. So they looked at the Prezi, they did a bit of a quiz which tested their learning, and when it gave them feedback on their answers, it gave them a bit more information. And then they had to find, a digital artefact, a poster, a video. So it's all sort of formative support leading up to this video assessment, which for many of them will be the first time, perhaps the only time in their whole experience at university, where they do a video assessment piece. But these prize draws for Smart Card credit, just a little incentive to keep going on the course because it is extracurricular. We also, another incentive to complete the certificate is that we have prizes for the best video from each subject area. So, and a prize for staff winner and a prize for interdisciplinary, the sort of best interdisciplinary video.
The winner strawberry yoghurt.
A lifetime supply of strawberry yoghurt. Organic, of course. And so they had the overall winner received a meal voucher. And this actual event was a great way to sort of celebrate the hard work of the students, because we showed all the videos that had been shortlisted for each school, and the students themselves voted on the videos. We put them on the Student Union website and they voted on what they thought was the best one. And we then presented certificates. So anyone who'd completed it but they weren't in the big sort of prize awards night could come and get their certificate, and I think we had scones and organic cream. And so this is just what the learning room looks like. So there's videos are used throughout, again to sort of get students used to using videos as a medium for communication and to make it more personal because it's all online. So as the teaching group, we each did a session, the opening and closing video. And when we did the closing video, we talked about some of the comments that students had made in the discussion forum. And another point to make the discussion forum, because we were talking about that earlier, was that when we asked students to post something every week, but the next session was only released to them when they commented on somebody else's post. So it's a sort of good way of making sure that they communicated with each other.
And they had, how many weeks did they have in which to complete the 4 weeks of activity?
It ran from November to the end of March. So they had a few months, basically, to complete it in their own time. But we had the prize draws that set, every 3 or 4 weeks we would kind of open the next session. So they could choose, they could do it all on the last night if they really wanted to, or they could do it sort of on a certain time scale and interact a bit more that way. Twitter feeds, so we had Nottingham Evening Post, we had Dairy Farmers of America, and a few other people following, so Twitter was always quite interesting. This is one of the student videos. I'll pass over to Ellie now.
I'm just going to show, did Billy win, or was he just...
This was the winning video for the School of Science and Technology.
So we're just going to show bits of it. Have we got sound?
Sustainability of food. In a short video, I'll explain what it means I will outline the problems associated with sustainability and give examples of some solutions which will help overcome this. Okay, to start with, what is sustainability of food? The definition of sustainability with healthy eating is very important. It can be broken down into 3 areas: environmental, economic and social. These 3 areas are the 3 pillars of the sustainability of food. So, what is the problem? Well, every £1 spent in the supermarket chain is only worth 36p to the local economy, but can be worth up to £1.76 when spent directly.
I'm just skipping.
The top-down
The
system,
same in the supermarket.
in which we expect unlimited choice, but actually we have no control over this. This needs to be reversed. We need to reconnect people to food and take responsibility to ensure control, minimising energy use and aiming development of people who are socially disadvantaged, by delivering activities to connect people with the conservation of the environment. Using commute 0.2 miles from harvest to delivery.
The whole thing's in our presentation, so if you're interested,
We
you
need to
can click on it
reverse
and watch it
current
later.
trends in order to conserve natural resources through sustainability of food.
That's right.
Brought to you by Billy Maritza.
Well, there was a use of the reverse motif there to make his point. Okay, what's next? So this is how traditionally we would talk about sustainability. Here's a Venn diagram, and it's got 3 pillars, and let's talk about the social, economic, and environmental aspects. Now we've got this video made by Billy and made by other students. They're going in, or they've gone into the learning resources in 2 different places, and I'm going to tell you about another place in a minute. So they're resources now that can be taken and recycled in the spirit of sustainability to create more opportunities and ways for people. So this is just in the spirit of recycling. That's what that picture's there for, right?
Yeah.
So students as co-creators of the curriculum. So this is where we've taken some of the videos created by students. So the end point is not just you do your video, it gets assessed, you get your pass-fail, you might even win a prize, but actually some of those videos then are fed back into the system. And I've worked with a group of interns to take some of the videos and create some teaching materials, kind of lesson plans and activities around those that can be used in our tutorial system. And we've also got a learning room for tutorials, so they've all gone into there. So that just involved us watching some of the videos, choosing them, me supporting them a bit with how do you create learning materials, what's a learning outcome, what kind of things are we looking for, and then read through drafts that they came up with and commented on them. And so, yeah.
So I'll talk about the first few. So in terms of some of the challenges, obviously the personal interaction with it all being online, how do we get people to engage? So the discussion forum, as I say, was a good hook, but also I think varying the activities and making sure that everything was alive. You know, it was always, we made sure that we updated things regularly. We all did 3 tweets a day. We did all this sort of thing. So that, and we didn't want a learning room full of Word documents. You know, they had, each of the activities was very much one that you had to click on, or you had to do a certain thing to release another thing, or this sort of thing. And also in terms of meeting up, so we did some focus groups with students afterwards, and they said that they liked the online aspect. It was really flexible, and they could do it anywhere, at any time, which was great. But they wanted to have some sort of ad hoc meet-up, so that's something that we're introducing this year, sort of drop-ins, both to meet and talk to students who are interested in the same sort of things that they are, and also to get some support with their, ask any questions they've got about the assessment or the activities.
Another challenge that we wanted to mention was in terms of, we were hoping that students would come out with videos that were really relevant to their subject, and we could create a big bank of introduction to sustainability materials that were relevant to all these different disciplines. But actually what they've mostly come up with is really good generic student-related introductions to the subject.
Yeah.
So we either need to think about how we support students online from a distance to think more along the lines of their subject and their discipline, or just say, okay, what we've got is some really good generic materials and we're going to keep using those like that?
In a sense, we're a bit too ambitious in thinking we'd get, you know, a 3-minute video to go into something really complex that's, you know, very much related to somebody's subject area. But what we have got, obviously, is a much more lively way of introducing both staff and students to the issue of sustainability. In terms of sharing work, at the moment, it's all on our virtual learning environment, which is great for us because we monitor who's doing the certificate. We can see from each of the schools, get all our stats and all the rest of it. But obviously, it's not open to the public at the moment. So we need to think of ways that we can share it. We've got the same copyright issues that everyone's got, despite sort of giving lots of guidance about that. Also, I think because the subject is sustainability, some of the students are coming up with some really good ideas about what we can do to address food challenges across the world. And it would be a bit awful, really, if we were like, well, yeah, but we're going to keep them on our virtual learning environment. Never mind about that. Solve food challenges. So I think we need to look at ways that we can share them externally more. In terms of video as an assessment mode, some of the feedback from the students was that they didn't complete it because it was a video. So although we tried to keep emphasising it was about the content of it, not the style, some students were put off by the video medium. So this year, we're keeping the video as the competitive element because we think it's still a useful, interesting, different thing to do that sort of challenges you. But also they could do a poster or a mood board as an alternative, which are less risky perhaps. In terms of the drop-off rate, we understand that, especially because it's extracurricular, but also online courses generally have a very high drop-off rate. We had aimed for 90 completions, and we got 95, so we were happy with that. What we were really happy with is that we something like 2,500 completed session 1, which is about 10% of our overall student population, which is brilliant. But obviously then from 2,500 to 95. The session 1 did introduce them to sustainability, so we know that 10% of our students now know at least what sustainability is, and maybe they'll sort of take that thinking into the rest of their course. But that is, again, something that we need to look at this year, and perhaps the assessment mode change will help, but something that we're still working on.
Okay, so I think we're going to hand over to Alex at this point. If you've got any comments or questions, just write them on the Padlet, and then we'll jump back up at the end of the session.